We said to you last time you're approaching harsh austerity, severe austerity, and remember that whatever you have today could really shrink in the next few moons if you have not covered yourself, if you have not offered gratitude every day, and if you have, let's say, perhaps these things happening astrologically will rile your life up to thrust you into change. So how prepared are you? The economy all over the world, most of the world, is extraordinarily shaky. Why do you think they want to keep taxing you for everything? They're spending and they're draining people. The energies this year will bubble and boil to extraordinary levels. So be prepared. Use intentions all the time and stay aware. And listen to what you are saying. And do the hard things. We don't like to use the word sacrifice, but many of you who have been foolish will have many regrets about not saving, about not taking care of things. There will be many endings and many people will lose many things, many breakups. Many more people will lose their homes. Many more people will lose their jobs. There's a big shake-up coming, so be aware. And go out into the field, troops. All right, on to whatever you want to talk about. Who has a comment about what's going on or what you are feeling or sensing, or if no one has something, we'll go to George and he can give a little highlight of what time or what is important for people to be aware of.
Well, this is Bob.
Yes, Bob.
Just, I'll comment on this for myself and anybody else who might be feeling this way. Everything you just said did make me feel a bit on edge and nervous because not everything in my life has gone the way I would have liked it to, and I'm facing challenges now and things, questions about if I create my own reality and I was putting out what I felt were the best intentions, and I still don't totally understand how I created the situation I'm in, and yet I feel like, okay, well at this point, you know, I listened to everything you said, and I feel like, yeah, that's the only approach is to stay aware, be aware of everything I say and think, take it all very seriously.
Think far ahead.
And I feel like all I can do is my best attempt to do that, and so then that makes me feel like, okay, I trust that. Am I being in denial by trusting that? Is there something I'm getting? It made me a bit nervous because I'm in a sketchy situation right now in a couple different areas.
Well, we'll give you some feedback on yourself, but in general we'll talk to people because it's very common at times in everyone's life where you, as a creator of reality, accepting this, believing this, you end up in a situation that you don't remember writing on your full moon paper. We've joked about this many times before, and that is a funny way of saying sometimes the shit hits the fan. And where did this come from, etc., etc. And this is a common occurrence in every person's experience who believes that they create their reality. Because at first it may sound exciting, it is an ideal, it is magical, and this, and then boom, out of nowhere, some anaconda sneaks into your bedroom or something. And you go, where did this big serpent come from? And always, in all situations, even though the individual may be befuddled and say, I don't remember intending this, I don't know where this came from, always there are clues. Nothing ever comes out of nowhere. There's something that has its own sense. And of course we talked to you about the potato. The potato is the part that knows. So when any of you find suddenly there's a big whoa, where did this come from? In general terms, you are in denial, and you are not acknowledging those, let's say, nudges or the information that's not what you want to hear. So when there is information that is contrary to, let's say maybe the potato has information that's contrary to what the pea is thinking, The pea shuts down the potato. After a while, the potato says, I'll show you, pea. And this is why we've taught you to respect and to learn to dance with the pea and the potato. And of course, we've taught you over the years that knowing can be yucky. Covered this in the New P Times. Knowing can be unpleasant at times. And yet, once you start opening to knowing, you are wiser in your decisions. Now, back to a situation such as Bob's. Generally speaking, when one creates a situation and you don't know where it came from, and you know in retrospect, give yourself a year or two when you're not in it and you look back, you could see the signs. So then it teaches you about consciousness. These surprises are a test. And sometimes life gets all twisted about and changed, and you always look for Uranus when these big kind of surprising things happen, and when if you know you are going to have Uranus square or do some aspect conjunct to a planet or something, that's when you really years before get your intentions going, knowing that that test is coming, and knowing the more unconscious you are, let's say knowing that the more you think you know what's going on, that unconscious, if you do not acknowledge it, when Uranus comes, it will blow things open. Now, when things blow open for you in an unexpected way, always intend that it will work out to your highest good and the highest good for all concerned. That's your first command. You follow this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's your first command. This, you don't have to know who, what, where, when, why, how. All right, this will work out to the highest good. And then you can go into who, what, where. But that is what you want. This will turn out to the highest good, because then you are sending a signal. And there's so many components to these shocking changes. It just depends on the level at which the individual needs to be moved out of its own stupor or slumber. All right. Sometimes people walk down the street and they hit an uneven part of the sidewalk, and they just sort of don't hurt themselves, but it sort of jolts them, and they say, "Ooh, I'd better be more aware." Another person may walk by that same sidewalk that's sticking up and fall down and break their leg, because they have to really slow down and take a look. So your events are full of symbolism. They are full of past life patterns. It's a highly karmic time. Highly karmic time. And in your case, Bob, when you are dealing with Chiron, as you have recently had something to Chiron there, that's timelines. Always this life opening to heal the wounds beyond the line of time. So there are many ways to look in an event. But when something grabs you by the cojones there, or whatever, think of it as Spirit saying, "You think you know what's going on? Will teach you something." You realize you're on a high learning curve. Be humble, completely and totally change. Break all old patterns and ask Spirit, "Spirit, what is the very best thing for me to do?" You ask Spirit. Don't go asking someone else, because you cripple yourself, Bob. That's just a little personal message there. You have disempowered yourself over the years, unnecessarily. Become your own source, all of you. This is what our investment is. This is what we rely on, that we have taught you to get your own answers. And if you can't figure them out yourself, then ask one of your friends. Dialogue, share, open, and be willing to change. All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other insight we can offer? Let's move around, Roger, if you don't mind.
This is Bill.
Bill, yes.
Tying in what Bob says and what I've been feeling myself, and the way you've talked about the importance of trust. And I think the most important thing for me is to develop more self-trust. And like you say, you can't go around asking everybody to solve your problems and tell you what to do and things like that. So the more we can trust ourselves, the better we'll be able to do that on our own, whatever the little problems may be, whether it's health-related or whatever.
Listen, and this is well said, Bill. There are many, many talented people out there.